Hello, we're back, and now we're going to talk about complications of pregnancy. And in pregnancies, we know these complications could include pre-existing conditions such as diabetes or hypertension, or pregnancy can cause these types of conditions. For pre-existing hypertension, this falls into code category 010. So this is complicating the pregnancy, childbirth, and the postpartum. And again, as we've seen before in many of these, the main term is pregnancy complicated by, in this case, complicated by hypertension. And the fourth character will tell us what type of pre-existing hypertension it is. Is it essential hypertension? Is it hypertensive heart disease? Is it hypertensive chronic kidney disease? Is it secondary hypertension? Or is it unspecified? We don't use an additional code to identify the hypertension. It should be spelled out in the fourth character. There are other forms of hypertension, right? We have preeclampsia, eclampsia, and these fall into code categories 011 through 016. Gestational hypertension is hypertension that didn't exist in the woman prior to becoming pregnant, but the pregnancy started the hypertension, if you will, or induced it, as it says here in the slide. And this normally occurs during or after the 20th week of gestation or in the postpartum period. Preeclampsia is the presence of hypertension with or without coexisting symptomatic abnormalities. And some of these abnormalities involve the kidneys, liver, what have you. Once things go to eclampsia, this is kind of that grand mal seizure activity that comes about from a hypertensive state. And these, again, the main term, pregnancy complicated by eclampsia, edema, preeclampsia, what have you. Big takeaway from this chapter is if you know what the complication is, start with the main term of pregnancy and work your way down. Hyperemesis is the severe morning sickness that can also complicate pregnancy. And as a result, we have a code for it that falls in the 021 code category. And there are additional codes that you'll see in the tabular. And again, another complication, if we have pregnancy that goes beyond 40 weeks, this is prolonged, code category falling into 048. Main term pregnancy, that term again, postpartum, or I'm sorry, post-term or post-mature or prolonged. And again, another complication, preterm labor, with or without delivery. This falls into 060. So this is any onset of labor before 37 completed weeks. And again, if we have a delivery of a live-born infant, of course, we're going to have the code from the code category Z37 for the outcome. And that's all I have for you. Big takeaways from this chapter. Everything with diagnosis coding starts with picking the right main term. Thankfully, as complicated as this chapter can be, you have two big main terms to help you, and they are pregnancy, such as pregnancy complicated by, and delivery, complicated by. If you keep those things in mind, you're probably going to be fine. And if you need help, come and see me during office hours. Thank you for listening. We'll see you online. Bye now.